What is up, guys? Zay Bandum coming at you from Queens, New York. I just wanted to make a quick video for you guys today about I just wanted to review Star Trek Discovery Episode 1 real quick. I just wanted to give my thoughts and what I think about it so far. Right now, they're up to, I do believe, Episode 6. And I just wanted to give you like my thoughts and what I think about it as a longtime fan of Star Trek in general. I've been watching Star Trek. I mean, I love this for a long time. The funny part is when I was a kid, I didn't like it. I didn't like the Next Generation at all. I used to get mad when it used to come on TV, and I don't remember exactly when I started enjoying it, but as before, after that time where I didn't like it very much, I for some reason, I love it now. Like, it's one of my favorite series. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I know all the fan lore and all that stuff, but in terms of the shows and the series themselves, I love watching them. I have watched them over and over again. Jesus Christ, I love them, right? So my general thoughts on the episode are, it was good. It was good. I didn't see anything, nothing was kind of like, oh, well, this is stupid, whatever. I think it's got its own vibe. It's really well produced, but then doesn't have the problem that I mentioned earlier with Orville, where it's too overproduced and looks too clean. Something about, I don't know what it is that they did with the way it's filmed. It doesn't look that way, so the production value is high, and it doesn't bother me so much. So that's a plus. I'm not a giant fan of the uniforms and stuff like that, because it looks very Enterprise, and this is supposed to take place 10 years before the original Star Trek series. So that's with the Captain Kirk, right? So but they've still got that Enterprise uniform, which I'm not a big fan of, because I just didn't really like the overall. I didn't like really anything about Enterprise as far as I was able to watch it, because I really couldn't. It was hard for me to watch more than a couple of episodes of it. I really didn't like it. But that's an aesthetic, whatever. That's fine. I can get past that. So the show starts. They're on a desert world, and we're introduced to the main character, whose name is Michael. I can't recall her last name. She's with her who we find out is her captain. On the, I probably should have fucking written this down. God damn it! All right, hold on. So as far as the episode is concerned, we're basically, we kind of start off on a on a desert planet. We have the main character, whose name is Michael, which is an odd choice of name, but I guess it's long into the future. All right, we don't know how naming conventions have changed in X amount of years. Okay, all right, I'll take it. We're introduced to her and her captain, who is, I think, Michelle Yeoh. I think from if you don't know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You need to watch that. But yeah, she's from a bunch of other Hong Kong films, which is cool. She's a great actress, so that's awesome. Basically, what happens is the ship runs into some kind of relay that's damaged, and they don't know what it is. They're not sure exactly what's going on. They want to check what it is. And Star Trek, let's discover stuff. They find this object floating in space. They can't really get close to it because of the radiation. She actually ends up fighting a Klingon on the outside of what is presumably a ship, correct? Oh, and before I get into anything, the episode starts with Klingons. A Klingon basically denouncing, I guess, the Federation of Planets, and sort of, it's a really religious sort of thing that they're going through. It seems that the Klingons are some kind of are very at least at this point in time in history, are very religious. But I can't say for sure. It could just be that particular captain of that particular ship. We don't know if it's a cult. We have no idea what it is. But as far as we know, the character is the race of Klingons is very religious. This particular set of Klingons. Now, I'm gonna get into one of my peeves, the biggest problem that I have with the show, and that's the presentation of the Klingons. That's not the religious part about it, but their appearance. Their appearance, I'm not a fan of. I don't really understand why they look so different. They look really different from the Next Generation. Since this, and now that I think about it, it's like this is supposed to take place 10 years prior to the original Star Trek, the original series, but the Klingons look nothing like that in the original series, so it doesn't really make sense for them to look so different. I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me. Unless there's some kind of different split from the Klingon race there, I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense. Especially considering that at some point in either the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine, Worf explains. I don't remember what the reasoning was, but Worf explains why they looked so different, and he doesn't even, from what I remember, he doesn't even want to talk about why they looked like that. Like, he's like embarrassed by it. Maybe it brings great shame to the Klingon race. I don't know.
Bad luck.
Yeah, this is a big problem that I had. I think in a lot of ways they look too much like Cardassians. I have a problem with that. Two, they look so different from Klingons, and there's features that make them obviously Klingon, right? You have the suck my ridges forehead, and like they're all primarily dark skinned. With the exception of a couple that we find out there's a couple of albinos. At least that's what it looks like, unless they're saying that there's a separate race of Klingons. We don't know that yet. It just, I don't know, man. I can't, it's the first time I'm seeing it. I can probably end up getting used to it and just being like, fuck it. But it's a really big problem that I have. It doesn't make sense to me why they're different. They could explain it later on, but I don't know. Another problem that I have is that really something about the way they speak is weird. It feels like they can't speak. I don't know if it's the fake fucked up teeth in their mouths or whatever it is. It sounds like their speech is muffled, and it's also very choppy in the way they're pronouncing the language, and it makes it sound like they're trying so hard to keep it to make it right that it's like they chopped it up and the sentences up in parts, and I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's just a problem with the actors that are doing it. So who knows? I don't know. Maybe they want them to sound like that, but I'm not a fan of it. Klingons are badasses. Everybody knows that. They're badass looking. I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty awesome, but I'm not. Something doesn't sit right with me. That's probably the biggest problem I have so far with the first episode, and we'll go on because I'm assuming this is the aesthetic that they want to go with for the Klingons in this show. So I guess you're just gonna have to tolerate it for now. So we find out that it's a Klingon vessel. She runs into a Klingon on this ship and kills him without even trying, which was kind of stupid. That was another problem that I had. That's kind of ridiculous. You're gonna just really? Just I'm not gonna tell you how, but it's kind of silly. All right, so they find out that this is a Klingon ship. No one really believes her because she saw a Klingon, because nobody's seen them in 100 years. But whatever. They they end up believing her. It ends up being a Klingon ship. It turns out that this guy wants to this specific Klingon wants to unite the houses through a prophecy. Like I said, they're religious, right? They light a torch by one of these albino, which I think is cool. This was even though I have a problem with the Klingons, this is kind of cool. Like the albino Klingon with no house, no name, nothing. So they end up lighting the torch. Everything sort of beams out. They don't know what's going on. At some point, this is one of the coolest parts of the episode. At one point, Michael goes and tries to get counsel from her mentor. Her mentor actually ends up being Spock's dad, and which is really cool. And this is where we find out that she, they give us a little hint about her backstory. The reason that she ends up being really intelligent, she's really, really smart, and it seems like they're going to have some kind of headbutting with the science officer, because she keeps on almost undermining him, and because like you see little hints at her kind of undercutting him and his ability as a science officer, and find out like, oh wow, she's really intelligent. How is she making the science officer irrelevant? Which is another reason why she seems overpowered in a lot of ways. It's, how good is she gonna be? Okay, all right, I understand. All right, but we find out that her mentor is Spock's dad. Dope. That's fucking awesome. And so we go into, and they give us a flashback before that, when she's injured, when she came back and she was burnt by radiation. She was having I believe a flashback of her in the I know if you watch Star Trek, you see how the the Vulcan children learn, and it's like this crazy floor with like a whatever. It's dope. They're like inside this little hole, and then they're being asked questions, and you see that she was trained by Vulcans. I don't know about raised by, but it seems that, and she seems to have a history with Klingons. It looks like Klingons may have murdered her family. We don't know how. We're not really told how. Not yet. They'll probably get into it later on. All right, that's cool. She finds out that her dad, so how the Vulcans dealt with the Klingons, and that was to fire on them first. I like the character development that they're at least laying the groundwork for, which is cool. I like a lot of that. I want to see a lot of character development with these characters. That's what I like. Another thing that they did was mention the science officer's background of his species, because he keeps wanting to run away. He's like, we should flee immediately. Then you find out that his species, his race of people, were bred on his planet to be prey animals. Their only reason for existing was to be prey, like cows. They're raised like cattle. That's awesome. I love to hear shit like that. It gives it like a deeper. It gives the world. It makes the world deeper. And when they do stuff like that, I want them to develop these characters more. Turns out that the Klingon ship called a bunch of other ships, and now they're at the standoff, and that's basically how she completely goes over the head of her commander, and tries to fire on the ship. And so now all these Klingon ships end up showing up, and they're like, holy shit, and it's a holy shit moment. And it's like really wild. So what do I think overall of the first episode? I thought it was good. I liked it. Like I said, it's not perfect. Nothing will be, right? I think that the little specks that they dropped here and there of character development in terms of like the main character, and then dropping in Spock's pops just for fuck it, why not? Is really, really cool. I mean, besides the problems that I have aesthetically with like the Klingons, I don't really like the way they look. or the way they pronounce the way they speak the language is a little weird. But we might be able to find out later on why that is, or there may be, who knows. But so far it feels very Star Trek. The production quality is high, which is good, really high. The only problem is you need a CBS, what is it, All Access or whatever it is, to watch it. That's a problem. I know a lot of people have a problem with paying for it. But yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on it. I want this to do good. I know I want more sci-fi stuff. I want to see more stuff like this. It's dope. It's fucking. It's a lot of fun to watch a good sci-fi show, especially with all the really really good like the effects. I don't want to say graphics because I feel like I sound like a fucking granddad. What? What's that? So there's a lot. Yeah. So the effects in the show are really wild. It's really really good. It's done really well. So that's my review. I think that it's pretty good. I hope that it keeps going because it's Star Trek, so it probably will end up going on for a while. I wasn't a fan of Enterprise, but that went on for a good while. It'll keep going by dint of its name alone. I mean, it carries a lot of weight. So I want to see the second episode, honestly, because it ended on a cliffhanger. And I don't know, give it a shot. If you can watch it, if you want to watch it on CBS All Access, I mean, go ahead. That's the fucking problem with it. I don't agree with like the way they're doing it, but what are you gonna do? That's how it is. Those are my thoughts on the new Star Trek Discovery Episode 1. If you like the video, subscribe. If you don't like the video, dislike the video. It's not going to stop you from seeing my mug every single week, but fuck it. I hope you liked it. I'm Abe Von Doom. This is Mutant Metal Maniacs, and I'm out.